Hello, dear friends. I offer a brief newscast so as to not to delay too much. Opinion piece. First contact in Russia. Famous war signal deciphered. Mexico and the US lead the effort. Fake it invasion wouldn't work. Let's start. According to ancient texts and prophecies, humankind's first public and official contact with visitors from the stars would be made through Russia, a country that in 2010 published his discovery of galactic contact detection algorithms. When they land, we are supposed to exchange information. First contact refers to the first public and official interaction or meeting between human beings and beings from other planets, that is, intelligent life from outside Earth. This idea has been a recurring theme in science fiction and has also generated interest in the scientific community dedicated to the search for external life. The international community is in a kind of race to achieve direct contact with external civilizations that have demonstrated the ability to communicate in the human language. This contradicts the widespread belief that they only interact with English speakers. Today, there is a real fight for direct contact with galactic civilizations. Mexico and the US are at the head of this race. Let's say that Mexico's task is to initiate conversational contact so that there is a paleo contact. However, according to ancient texts and prophecies, contact would be made through Russia. The US task was to get a real object, and they have more than one. The first fell in New Mexico in 1947. They say that they have technology and that they have discovered everything. If they have discovered everything, they would have dominated the entire world a long time ago. The German exopolitical scientist Alexander Rar believes that we are preparing for a new reality that they will try to be implemented or to implement. It is the idea of a false common enemy for the planet Earth in the form of extraterrestrials, against whom we would finally unite. I do not think it works. In 2022 and 23, Americans provided photographs of UFOs only on Earth. The next step is that they would record it in space. Next, they would try to play the card of a false ET invasion. Discovery. Yuri Grigoriev and Anna Azatha, members of the Russian Academy of Ufology, discovered the galactic contact language after deciphering the famous WoW signal. After studying a set of cryptographic methods, this couple was able to read the information hidden in the symbols of the 6EQUJ5 WoW signal. The code that the aliens used turned out to be very simple. It was a response to the message sent from the Arecibo radio telescope in 1974. In the symbols of the WoW signal itself, they discovered several points of the message addressed to Earthlings. In their opinion, hidden behind the symbols of the signal was the word test, encrypted in two alphabets, Russian and English. A warning was transmitted about the danger of an asteroid threatening the Earth, and help was offered to prevent it. In the interview with Pravda, Grigoriev and Azatha shared their views on the growing interest in UFOs, the relationship of this phenomena to the situation in Ukraine, and why visitors seem eager to establish direct contact with Russia. One of the main questions surrounding researchers of the phenomenon is how to determine if an object is of terrestrial or extraterrestrial origin. According to Grigoriev, real UFOs are distinguished by their exceptional technical capabilities that differ from those of terrestrial aircraft. These differences are evident to both military and scientists, as these objects exhibit movements that are impossible for current aircraft. Grigoriev points out that visitors sometimes perform specific maneuvers to demonstrate that their technology is of non-terrestrial origin. In this context, Anna Zaza points out that there is a fight underway to establish direct contact with these civilizations, with Mexico and the US leading the effort. However, according to researchers, despite the interest in UFOs in the Russian government in the 90s, the country currently appears to ignore the presence of these objects in its airspace. Grigoriev and Zaza say that despite obvious signs, Russia has not responded to the possibility of direct contact. Relationship. Kinship is the natural state of humankind, according to Yeshua through John Smallman. The time of violence and war is over, and only love will put an end to it. Solidarity is flooding planet Earth like never before and affecting everyone, even those who have chosen to judge, condemn, and punish those with whom they disagree. The flood of love that floods the earth is submerging everyone. People are drowning in love and consequently awakening to a state of care, compassion, and tenderness that stimulates an intense desire to help achieve the state of equanimity throughout the world. This will allow for harmony, resonance, and willingness to recognize the primordial need to honor and realize a universal kinship among all humankind, without exclusions or exceptions of any kind. Kinship is the natural state of humankind. It is the relationship that envelops us all in the love that is Father, Mother, God. News. In my opinion, the official announcement of Gisela would have to wait until 2026, but other important announcements would come before that, such as the gold standard, the quantum system, and world peace. A solar superstorm could shut down the internet for months, a scientist warns, just before the 2024 election. Sicily, Italy, plunged into chaos. Winds of 203 kilometers per hour destroyed homes and businesses. A large crack opens in the city center of Grindavik, Iceland. Erupting volcanoes can cause a colder winter. The temperature of Antarctica drops 2 degrees Celsius in 20 years. It must be glacial warming. France, Germany, Sweden, and 11 European countries rebel against the immigration imposed by the European Union and establish border restrictions. National borders are returning to Europe, but it is too late. Elon Musk believes Europe is headed for civil war. San Francisco expels homeless people and completely cleans the city before Biden's visit. What a shame that in the 21st century, people look for things in the trash to survive. Chicago is so unpleasant that immigrants are fleeing back to Venezuela after being thrown into shelters and denied jobs. Harsh Illinois winters, lack of infrastructure for immigrants, and rejection by locals have caused them to return home. So far, 27,700 people have crossed the border, have been transported, who has crossed the border have been transported to Chicago. The US Congress has 3 days to avoid a shutdown again. The government will enter a shutdown on November 17th. Wild Vision, 15-minute prison series and the end of private property. Globalist Vision, I mean. Inflation in Argentina was 8.3% in October and rose 142.7% in 12 months. Curious. Tiny Glass frogs become transparent at night to avoid predators, hiding almost 90% of their red blood cells. The next big career step is to become a farmer. Having good clean food is better than being rich with dirty fiat money. Something like having your hands working the land and having a day of work bring me closer to God and nature. According to Benjamin Fulford, the geopolitical situation is in the midst of a collapse that will cause many countries in their current form to disappear from the map. The plan to use three world wars to turn the planet into a giant slave plantation has ended in failure. The defeat of this plan means that many borders may return to a situation similar to which existed before the First World War. All of this may seem far-fetched, but real-world facts make this the most likely scenario. Sierra update on ascension symptoms. I am experiencing sudden rapid bursts of vertigo that come out of nowhere. Of nowhere. It happened today while I was walking. I am in perfect health, so I know that the energy is. Speaking of dizziness, does anyone else notice the astonishing speed with which each day passes? The wild bar doesn't begin to describe it. I can't fit into a day activities that would easily fit just a few weeks ago. Hang in there, warriors of light, when you read testimonies that the coalition operation is going smoothly. Of course, we would love to see firsthand what happens behind the scenes, but the important thing is that it is happening. Conspiracy theories, according to Michael, just because someone labels something as conspiracy theory doesn't mean it is not true. In fact, in recent years, so-called conspiracy theories have proven correct time and time again. Of course, not all the crazy theories people throw around on the internet are accurate. In fact, I come across nonsense all the time that it is completely false. Nowadays, deception comes at us from all angles, and it is very important to think critically. Just because someone says something is true doesn't mean it is true. And just because someone says something is false doesn't mean it is false. Ultimately, we all need to do our own research and come to our own conclusions. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.